Hi, my name is Jignesh Patel. I'm a software consultant working for a leading IT consultancy service company based out of Ahmedabad, having 17 years of experience, worked abroad as well as in India.
So my name is Jils Patel and I am from Depstar, and we are here for our practical assignment to complete. So my first question is, how would you define the role of software engineering in IT industry?
Okay, so software engineering is very critical, okay, because any IT company you pick or any IT organization you pick, software plays very critical role, and there are certain principles are there in the software engineering which helps you create different softwares which would be robust, scalable, durable, and secure. So it plays a very secure role.
Okay. Next.
Hi, my name is Jils Patel and my number is 22DCE074. And my question is, how do you assure the software quality in your company?
Okay. So when we talk about software, right, quality is very important, because if you create if you create any software which is having error, it ultimately impacts the business of your customer. So let's say you're working for one company and your customer is from life science or banking sector. So any software you create, the quality has to be very good. Otherwise, any problem in that software could result in loss of their business, your customer's business. So quality is very important. So what happens is that there are certain guidelines we have in our company. So whenever a new project is started, every developer has to make sure that those processes are followed, and detailed requirements are captured, detailed test cases are captured, and each and every test case are executed very thoroughly to ensure that all the business areas are covered. And in turn, it helps us create a software which is bug free and with expected quality.
Next.
Hi, my name is Manav Patel. How did you solve a problem when you faced during this time period?
Okay, so there could not be one answer for this, okay, because different problems are there and there would be a different solution for each kind of a problem. But generally what happens is that whenever we have a problem in a software development or during the requirement or during the system design, generally we try to connect with our peer, our superior, to get the guidance. Sometimes we also consult consultant from other groups to see if what kind of problems are there and what could be the resolution. So there could not be a fixed answer for this, but it has to be based on the situation. So let's say if you're creating a web application and you're facing some issue in the initial design, then we consult with our UX consultant to ensure that they give us the guideline or guidance, and then accordingly we solve the problem.
Next.
Hello, my name is Neil Patel, and what is the current structure of your team, and how does your team work?
Okay, so right now, in my team there are 200 plus associates. Okay, so there are different teams I have. Some folks are working on UI, some folks are database administrators, some folks are subject matter expert in the domain. So depending on the size of the project, we have different teams, and then you can say the minimum team size would be 5 to 10 people, and the maximum team size would be 25 people. So they gets rotated based on the work. So there is no fixed structure, but yeah, you can say there are 8 or 10 teams working under me.
Hello, my name is Shiv Patel, and my question is, how do you regularly conduct the code? So do you regularly conduct your code review, and how does it help to increase the code quality?
Can you come again? There is some disturbance. I couldn't get it.
Okay. Means do you have to regularly conduct the code review, and if so, how does it manage to help you to increase the code quality?
Okay, so code review is very important, because as a developer, when any developer is creating a code, right, he would do some unit testing and he would always think that, okay, whatever I have written is correct. But a phrase I look or a third I look is very important. So what we do generally is that there is a process called peer review. So whenever, let's say, if I am a developer, I'm creating something, I'm writing some code, after my unit testing, there would be some other person who would walk through or who would go through or review my code and make sure that he also agrees to it, whatever I have written. And if there are some suggestions the reviewer has, that is, and developer has to address it. So there are different advantages of code review. Okay, so first thing is that you would make sure that there are no memory leakage, or there are no loopholes in the code which could impact in any kind of a vulnerability. So code review is very important. We have a defined process in our company. So based on the type of the project and the size of the team, every time the peer review happens. And obviously, when we do a code review, there would be some observation. Those observation would be considered. The code will be again rectified, and it helps in overall quality of the project or the software.
So my next question is, how do you prioritize and plan projects?
So priorities, again, there could not be any fixed answer. It depends on what is my customer's requirement. So let's say if I am managing an account for banking customer, and there are, let's say, 10 or 12 projects going on right now at a time. But if my customer wants, okay, this project has the highest business importance, then that would be my first priority. And once that project is identified, based on the, you guys aware about agile methodology?
No.
Yes.
Agile development, agile project development, or software development. Yeah. So basically what I mean to say is, based on the priority of my customer and the user stories or the requirements, we do prioritize our project, and we also change the priority based on the requirement. Because there could be a scenario that at the start of the project, my customer has a different requirement and different priority. But during, let's say, a mid of the project, the priority could change. So we have to be flexible to make sure we follow or we meet whatever our customer asks for.
Okay, so my next question is, how are design decisions made by your team?
So design decision. Okay, so any software or any system when you're going to create, right, there are very basic fundamental questions. First is whether that is an internal, that who are going to be the users of that application or a system. How many users will be there? Are those users internal to organization, or they are end customer? So according to all these parameters, we have to decide whether it is going to be a complex system, a simple system, or a system which will need a lot of scalability because the number of users are high. So based on this all parameter, we generally design the system. Also, when we design the system, we always make sure that there are no redundancy, there are no duplication of the code. We generally try to implement during the in implementing it in a modular way. So if we have to scale the application or scale the system down the line, it will help us. So again, design. There are different design principles, okay, and we have to pick and choose based on the type of the requirement and based on the complexity of the software.
Sir, next question is, what is the newest technology, tools, and framework your team was implemented previously?
Can you come again? There was some disturbance.
What is the newest technology that your team implemented?
Okay, newest technology. So if you see right
Tools,
now,
yeah.
a lot of tools.
Tools or framework.
Tools wise, I would say there are different tools we have. Recently, we in some of our project we are using a visualization tool called Microsoft Power BI. It helps us create very interactive reports and give the data insights. The other technology, I could say, we are using a lot of front end frameworks. We are using Node.js as in backend. A lot of things we are moving into cloud like Azure, Google Cloud, or AWS. So yeah, the different tools are there. Again, I would say there are some tools which are proprietary, so I cannot comment more about it. But yeah, there are a lot of things happening. So I think even if you guys whatever study right now, when you will be out in the market, there would be many things new. So yeah, it is actually a continuous process to evaluate the right tool and then use it.
My next question is, which software development methodology does your team utilize?
Okay, so I have different team. I have different kind of project. So in some of the projects we use waterfall, which is like a normal thing: requirement gathering, design, development, deployment, production deployment. And then there are some projects where we have continuous changing requirement and customer wants us to follow agile. So yeah, in some cases we follow waterfall, in some cases we follow agile.
So my next question is how software development principle have positively impacted on your software qualities.
Okay, so software principles like reusability, like simplicity, like scalability, uh, choosing the best methodology, then focusing on the quality, focusing on the testing. These are different principles we have. And if you pick any of this principle, it will help you create a robust, scalable software or a system. Let's say I would give you an example. If I ask you to develop or design, one system, it is very much important that you design the system in a simple enough, still it is scalable and it solves the purpose. So please keep in mind, it is not necessary that if you are designing something it is very complex, then only it will be a good system. Good system with the simple design. So like I said, there are different principles we have in software engineering, and each principle is helping and actually has helped us to create robust systems for our customer.
So my last question is, what improvements are recommended to enhance the overall software engineering practice within your team or organization?
So my organization is very large. Okay, so there are many things, obviously, and then what I would say is there are no fixed actually recommendation which I could recollect right now, but we generally do adapt it based on the need. Okay, so I cannot give. I mean, I'm not able to recall the exact recommendation right now, but in a project to project, it happens that sometimes we take the learning from the past project and implement and make sure that whatever mistakes we have done or whatever problems were there in the existing or older system, that doesn't get impacted or it doesn't get repeated in the new project. So that's the subject. It's more of a subjective question. Okay, so it depends.
So my last question is, how do you ensure the security of your code?
Okay, so there are multiple. Okay, security is very important aspect. Okay, because right now, consider a scenario that if you are using a net banking and you are transacting your financial thing through that app, right? You would expect that app is very secure, not hackable, and there should not be any compromise in your data, and ultimately not in your financial this thing. So there are different tools are there in the market based on the requirement. You can use those tools to make sure there is no vulnerability in your code or in your system. There are penetration testing happening. There are performance testing happening. So all these parameters you need to consider while designing the system to make sure the software is secure and not vulnerable. So some of the points you can take care during your development or while writing the code, and some parameters or some pointers you can take care while after putting it into a QA or a UAT. You run these tools to get the report whether are there any vulnerabilities or not. If there are any vulnerabilities, you can fix it based on the recommendation from those tools. So there are different tools are there. Again, which tool to pick again depends on the type of the system or what kind of multiple tools which you can use.
My last question is, sir, how would you rate the effectiveness of documentation in aiding development activities such as coding, testing, and maintenance?
Right. Documentation generally in the IT, we there is a kind of I would say that assumption that document is not important and only code is important because that is what is actually the software. But that's not the reality. Documentation is very important. I'll give you one example. Let's say you are gathering a requirement from a customer. If you have not documented those requirements properly, there would be a mismatch in the requirement, or that could be something which your customer has asked, but you have developed something different. So documenting a requirement is very important. Likewise, documenting the functionality of the system is very important. Documenting the test scripts are very important. Documenting the test results are very important. documenting the even how to use the system, that user manual or the software user manual, that is also very important. So documentation is very key part actually, because once the system is developed, okay, later if someone has to refer, or let's say let's say consider one of you guys have created a software, and after some time you're no more with that organization, and some other person has to take care of that software, how would that person know? In 99.9% cases, that person would be able to go through the document which was created by the document, help that a new person to get the understanding of the system, the requirement, and whatever was discussed during development life cycle of it. So documentation is very important as writing a code.
So, sir, how would you feedback when engineering will still to the interview of yours?
Connection problem on your
Okay.
end or my end, I'm not sure.
Sir, how
Can
would
anybody
you how would you give the feedback on our subject practical?
Session, what is your
I
feedback?
mean how you covered the so how you covered the different questionnaire and all that thing, right?
Yes.
And so this the kind of questionnaires you guys have asked, it is very relevant in current software industry. Basically it touches the different aspect of how software engineering is important, what things are needed to create a robust and scalable, just a minute, robust and scalable system, and how it can serve the customer in the best way. So this is an excellent questionnaire you guys have created. Very much relevant.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.